More feature racing coming your way out at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth on Sunday, the 5th of May 2024. We've got the second leg of the Winter Series. We've got the Legal Eagle Stakes, a Grade 3. We've got the Winter Nursery. We've got the Ladies Mile, which is a listed event. So plenty to look forward to on Sunday. It is a 9-race program, and race number 1 is set to get underway at 12:20. Joining me in studio is Graham Hawkins. And Graham, how are you doing?
All good, thank you, Rahil. Obviously, we're recording the show on the Saturday morning prior and even prior to the launch of champion season at Hollywoodbets Greyville. Great meeting, that one, sure. But this is also a very nice meeting.
Certainly, and we're looking forward to it on Sunday. And we begin in race number 1, where you've got horse number 9, Symphony in White, at 22-10 for Candice Bass-Robinson and Aldo de Meyer. Number 11, Kinda Wonderful, who won very easily last time out, is at 22-10. Number 5 is at 28-10. It's a 9-2 Be Merry, 20-1 and Better Baldo. So they're just 4 horses that are in the market here. But this filly was ultra impressive last time out, Kinda Wonderful, and she won beating Dixieland by 6 lengths. Unfortunately, Dixieland didn't do a great deal for that form line, but I think the manner in which she won was quite encouraging. But I'm not quite sure why they're dropping her back in trip to the 5 furlongs. I think if it was 6 furlongs, I'd be confident that she could win again. But I think that the 5 furlongs may just be a question mark for me.
Yeah, I can only imagine that maybe Eric Sands is keeping her on the boil for something that's coming up in time. But she was impressive. As you say, we're not quite sure how strong that form line is going to turn out to be. Symphony in White, she beat Dark Winter quite comfortably on debut and then was slammed by One Stripe, but One Stripe obviously is out of the top draw. Shipendani is an interesting first-timer. The comments are really, really positive. Another daughter of One World. They're expecting a very good run from Shipendani. And one could argue, in fact, that Be Merry brings the best form into the race and gets 3 kilograms from the winners, Symphony in White and Kinda Wonderful. And I think that all adds up to a very interesting contest. You've got Be Merry with really nice progressive form. You've got the 2 winners, Symphony in White and Kinda Wonderful. And then you've got the first-timer, Shipendani. So it's an interesting mix. I share the same concerns as you do, stepping back in trip, but I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to number 11, Kinda Wonderful, to follow up ahead of Symphony in White, Be Merry and Shipendani. But I wouldn't be surprised to see any of the 4 winning the opener. This does not form part of the bipod. It is a 9-race program, but it is a good race nonetheless.
It certainly is, and follow the market with number 5, Shipendani. There has been a touch of early support into 28-10, and if there's a follow-through, well then that filly could be the business in race number 1. Moving along to race number 2 next. Race 2 will be the start of the bipot, 1100 meters. This is the Winter Nursery, a Grade 3, 12:55 the off time, and One Stripe, he's at 5-10, Lion Rampart at 28-10, Roman Agent 7-2, Furious Queen at 12-1, and then Rama Fukesa is at 25-1. Now, it's a small field, 5 runners that line up here, but I think it has to be said that One Stripe, ultra impressive in his penultimate start when beating Aristotle. Last time out he beat Winds of Change. Now, unfortunately, Winds of Change is still a maiden, and many would have expected him to go on and win his next start, but he's been beaten in 2 subsequent efforts. But this horse, he looks the part, and he looks to be a real smart sort in the making. And from a point of view of champion season, it's a pity that Vaughan Marshall is not coming up to KZN, because I'm sure this horse would have been probably hard to beat in the gold medallion. But I think he's going to be hard to beat on Sunday.
Well, those options are always open to him, of course, and if One Stripe was to win this and win this well, the temptation to come for the 1 million rand gold medallion might still be somewhere out there, and there's no reason why he couldn't make the trip if Vaughan Marshall has a change of heart. He holds all the aces here, One Stripe and Lion Rampart. It's interesting that Richard Ferree sticks with Lion Rampart, and Gavin Lorena's being flown in specially to ride One Stripe. One Stripe, as you say, is the early market leader at a very short price. There is form around Winds of Change for both Roman Agent and One Stripe. Roman Agent beat Winds of Change, and so did One Stripe. And as you say, it's been quite disappointing that Winds of Change hasn't been able to find the winner's enclosure, but he's been beaten by really good sorts throughout his career. It's a disappointingly small field for the Winter Nursery. And on that note, as I said a little while ago, we're recording this on Saturday morning. A little bit of rain has arrived. I was chatting to Dean Diedrichs before we came on air to record this show. They're expecting about 12 millimetres today. clearer tomorrow, not enough to probably change the going to a significant degree, but winter is starting to come to the Western Cape, and as we were discussing the other day, when the going changes, so the form is going to change. But I don't think that's going to have any effect on the outcome of this race. I'm playing it safe in the bipod. I'm going with numbers 3, One Stripe, and 4, Lion Rampart. I'm going to include both of Vaughan Marshall's runners. As I said, a disappointingly small field, but a very interesting race nonetheless. Roman Agent, you can't just lightly discount. He's going to come out fresh. Furious Queen was very impressive on debut, and if Be Merry wins the first race and wins the first race well, that'll enhance her chances. I do think that Rama for Kaiser has got a bit to find. Yes, I'm going to go with One Stripe to beat Lion Rampart ahead of Roman Agent, but I'm including both 3 and 4 in the bipod. I'm not going to bank a number 3, One Stripe.
That's race number 2. One Stripe definitely the one to beat, but 4, Lion Rampart is the backup. Moving along to race number 3, the start of the place accumulator, 1400 meters the distance. Maiden Juvenile Plate Half-Past 1 is the off time, and number 7, Sound of the Sea, is your favorite at 5-2. Aristotle has found support 4-1 into 33-10 stated. Number 6 is at 33-10 as well. All Out for 6 is at 5-1, and then it's 6-1 and better bar those. Now, when we have a look at this race, there's obviously quite a bit of form to work with. You've got Sound of the Sea, who ran in 2 features in his first 2 starts, and then last time out he showed good improvement behind the much fancied and horse that they all were expected to be Mauritius Kestrel, and I thought he put up a good effort. And now that Richard Free takes a ride, that's obviously a significant jockey booking. He's got the beating of number 6 stated on that last run. He's got the beating of number 8 All Out for 6. So on that performance, he should be able to confirm it, and he does look to be one of the likely winners here. Probably the horse to beat, though.
He's entitled to be favourite. They've had the 1400 metre experience, all of those that ran behind Mauritius Kestrel. You say that Sound of the Sea should have the measure of stated and All Out for 6. All Out for 6 is improving rapidly. There was a half a length between the 3, and a change of pace, a change of luck in running could see the result reversed. So I think that all have stated, Sound of the Sea and All Out for 6 have obviously got bright chances, and you're quite correct. Sound of the Sea with Richard Free up is probably the one they all have to beat. But I do like those that ran behind Miss Argonaut. It's quite interesting because there's cross form here. Aristotle, I'm not surprised the money's coming. They really think highly of the son of Rafif. They were very disappointed with his last run. Drawn in pole position, goes around the turn. So I make Aristotle my top choice in a very interesting and competitive race. And I'm looking for huge improvement from number 4, What a Fortune. Now, it was interesting behind Miss Argonaut. Aristotle ran 5th and What a Fortune ran 6th. Behind them was All Out for 6. And behind them was Bagatelle Flash, who runs in the next race with a huge chance. Put that run behind her and came back to run a very, very positive race. So 2 different form lines, some cross-referencing, you can draw conclusions. I think it's up for grabs. I think it's very competitive. I've included 4 runners in this leg of the bipod. I think all of numbers 1, 4, 6, 7 and 8 have got winning chances. But yes, you could make a very strong case for Sound of the Sea, but I'm looking for huge improvement from Aristotle. But it's going to be a good race.
Certainly a race where I think it could be a good race to watch, and then a quartet could be a nice bet to catch, because you've got it seems to be 5 horses in with realistic chances here, and then you could possibly narrow those selections down for 1st, 2nd, and then include the balance for 3rd and 4th. But Aristotle, he's going to be the top selection for Graham, and he's got One Stripe in his form, and let's see how One Stripe does go in race number 2. Moving along to race 4, a maiden plate over 1,000 meters, 5:2 is the off time. Your favorite is number 5, Unbel D, at 15-10. Number 6, Bagatelle Flash, is at 33-10. Maneki Neko is at 4-1. It's 8-1 about approach shot, upper crust, and then it's 16-1 and better bar those. Now it is the 2-year-olds taking on older horses here. Unbel D, he ran behind Talk to the Master last time out. I thought he'd go slightly closer than what he did. Based on his previous starts, I thought 1200 would have been right up his alley, the way he's been finishing off his races. So I thought a touch disappointing, but he's obviously going to be a threat here. And then number 6, Bagatelle Flash. Now, when he went over 1200 meters, he didn't really put his best foot forward behind Miss Argonaut, so the 5 furlong seems to be spot on. And he could have run behind what could be a smart sort in the making in the form of Kai Boy.
I make this an absolute match race between numbers 5 Earn Bell D and number 6 Bagatelle Flash. I know there's some older maidens, Maneki, Neko, Approach Shot, and others who have been knocking around in the maidens for a while, but they've had every chance to win their maiden. Earn Bell D steps back to the 1,000 metres and seemed to run out of puff in the closing stages behind Talk to the Master, as you said, over 1,200 metres. Going to be interesting to see how Bjorn Ironside goes. As I said, we record this before the Saturday meeting at Hollywoodbets Greyville. Now, Bjorn Ironside is a very short-priced favourite to win there, and he was just marginally in front of Earn Bell D when they ran third and fourth behind Roman Agent. So if Bjorn Ironside wins well, that'll enhance the chances of number 5 Earn Bell D. I'm expecting Earn Bell D to go very close here, go very well, but Bagatelle Flash has done enough to suggest he's going to provide stiff competition. So I'm margining the camp of number 5 Earn Bell D ahead of number 6 Bagatelle Flash, but I make it a two-horse contest. I think the winner will come from one of those two. I've included both in this leg of the bipot. And as far as the pick six is concerned, because this is the first leg of the pick six, I wouldn't look beyond numbers 5 Earn Bell D and 6 Bagatelle Flash for the winner, because as far as the pick six is concerned, even if Justin Snaith's other runner, the first timer, number 9 Upper Crust, should come through to win, you would survive with the horse that ran second. So it's interesting that Grant van Niekerk rides Upper Crust. Of course, he's riding for Nick Johnson there, and Richard Faries picked up the ride on Earn Bell D, and I think he'll give it a good ride, and I think he's only got to worry about Bagatelle Flash.
Two horses to play around in race number 4, the start of the pick six. Move along to race number 5, an open maiden over 1,800 metres. Fillies and Mares contest. Favourite is number 5, Sansa Stark at 13-10. English Mistress is at 18-10. Number 4, Lucky 13 is at 3-1. Princess of Bayou is at 8-1, and then it's 20-1 and better bar those. Now, having a look at this race, number 5, Sansa Stark has been second in her last 2 starts. Richard Faries sticks with the ride. Now, Richard has ridden this filly 5 times for 3 seconds, so he must obviously feel something to persist with the ride, and he probably does believe that she could get the job done quite soon.
Yeah, she's got to be one of the leading lights in this race. We love our open maidens, don't we? Sansa Stark, 3 seconds from 5 starts with Richard Faries aboard, so clear bipot inclusion. My top choice in the race, Sansa Stark, ahead of number 2, English Mistress, who continues to disappoint. So I'm going with just numbers 2 and 5 in this leg of the bipot. But in the pick 6 and the jackpot, you've got to throw in number 4, Lucky 13. You've got to throw in number 8, Princess of Bayeux. On some form, there's not much to choose between Lucky 13 and Sansa Stark. In fact, if you go back to the Heliotrope run on the 5th of March, Lucky 13 finished ahead of Sansa Stark and is now better off at the weights. So Sansa Stark is 13-10, not a betting proposition at 13-10 in my book. Lucky 13 definitely comes into the race with a chance. English Mistress just continues to disappoint. But if you look at some of the horses that she's run behind, you'd think she's got to have the ability to win a maiden. But she has to carry top weight, 60 kilograms in this open maiden, along with Sansa Stark. Lucky 13, 53.5 has got to be a runner. And Princess of Bayeux has got to be a runner. So I'm going 2 and 5 in the bipot, but you've got to go 2, 4, 5, and 8 in the pick 6 in the jackpot.
4 and 8 could be good backup to perhaps even beat numbers 2 and 5. And if you manage to beat 2 and 5, well, it is certainly going to be a bit of a jolt, even though number 4, Lucky 13, is fancied in the market. Moving along to race number 6, this is the Legal Eagle Stakes, a grade 3 over 1,800 metres, leg 2 of the winter series. Number 5, Rascallion, 15-10, 7-2, Future Prince Bakaya is at 4-1, Rapidash at 9-2, it's then 8-1, and better bar those. Now, Rascallion, he won a nice race beating Port Louis in the first leg. He's going to be more at home over the 1,800 metre trip. Morne Vinna takes a ride for Vaughan Marshall, so he'll be looking to make full use of this chance that he has been given, and he won last time out aboard this horse, and he definitely sets the standard in this race, Graham. It seems like he's sort of turned the corner of late, because his run in the Met was an absolutely cracking performance, and he almost pulled it off when Double Superlative got him late on, and then last time out, I thought he won well, and he could certainly follow up.
Well, it was Vaughan Marshall's stated mission to keep Rascallion in the Western Cape, specifically to go for the Winter Series. The hardest job for him was to win the first leg, because 1,600 metres very much at the bottom end of Rascallion's range. And in fact, I went against Rascallion in that first leg. I was in the camp of Montine. Now, it's interesting that Montine has given up the chase of the Winter Series, having been beaten in the first. So maybe we will see Montine. He is an early entry for the Hollywoodbets Durban July. So we may see Montine up here in KwaZulu-Natal. So Rascallion won the race that looked hardest for him to win, which was over the mile. And there's no reason to expect him not to follow up and win the second leg here, the Legal Stakes. I think his biggest danger has got to be Pakaya. Obviously, something went seriously amiss in the Met. He pulled up with cardiac arrhythmia. That was the veterinary report for Pakaya. That sounds terribly serious, and probably is terribly serious. But his comeback run was encouraging. Yes, beaten 3.5 lengths by Rascallion over a mile, but they gave him a soft run. He was towards the rear of the field. He was motoring home. And, you know, if he can reproduce the kind of form which saw him beat Winchester Mansion in the 1900, then Rascallion is certainly not going to have matters all his own way. I've banked at number 5, Rascallion, in the buy pot. Not sure I would do that necessarily in the pick 6. I think I would cover him off with numbers 4, Pakaya, and 1, Future Prince. But for me, Rascallion, he's on a mission. He is clearly the top choice. But you would be foolish not to have some measure of respect for Pakaya. I guess it's a bit difficult with these issues to know what to expect. But if the right Pakaya turns up over this track and trip, and given some of his best runs of last season, then he's going to push Rascallion all the way to the line.
That's 4 and 5, and potentially you can include horse number 1, Future Prince, into the mix as well. But no doubt number 5, Rascallion, is the one to beat in race number 6. Moving along to race number 7, the Ladies' Mile, a listed event over 1,600 meters. 15:50 is the off time. And number 11, Red Palace, is the favorite here at 7-2, 4-1 about Gold Poker Game, 11-2 Princess Izzy, 7-1 Rainbow Lorry Keat, and then it's 8-1 and Better Bar Those. Now, given that Candace Bass Robinson thought that this filly could be good enough to take her places in those feature races, and I think she was even an entry for the Met, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm surprised that she hasn't brought her down for the Guineas. Perhaps she would have thought that this would have been a slightly easier race. Obviously, you've got double Grand Slam in the Guineas, but this filly, surely she should be hard to beat in this race, Graham, because when you have a look at what she's taken on compared to what she does meet here, it is definitely a drop in class.
There's no doubt that Red Palace is the one to beat. She brings very, very good Grade 1 form into the second leg of the Winter Series for fillies and mares. Princess Izzy won the first leg over 1,400 metres, which was the Sweet Chestnut Stakes, and she goes here again, drawn down in Gate 2. The draw is obviously a little bit of a worry for Red Palace, but if they decide to go forward, as she likes to do, then I guess they could negate the ill effects of a wide draw. So Red Palace does obviously appear the one to beat. I think she lost away a little bit. I think her run in the Majorca Stakes was below what was expected. She was freshened up with a 1,200 metre run not too long ago behind Winter Cloud. So we've got to take it on trust that she's going to bring her best form into the race. If she does that, then number 11, Red Palace, will prove very, very difficult to beat. She ran second in the Hollywoodbets Cape Guineas behind Snow Pilot against the boys, and that was a very sound effort. Drawn even worse is number 13, Gold Poker Game. Maybe less of a concern. She'll be ridden for luck. I think Elder De Meyer is going to switch her off well off the pace, but we've seen her motor home before. So I wouldn't lightly discount the chances of number 13, Gold Poker Game. In this leg of the bipot, I've actually played it a little bit wide because I'm not quite sure right now where we're at with Red Palace. I'm expecting Red Palace to win. But I'm going to also throw in the first leg winner, number 2, Princess Izzy, and the much improved number 4, Rainbow Lorikeet, also races from a good draw. What a day it would be for Morne Vinar if he was to win on Rascallion and then follow up on Rainbow Lorikeet. So I've gone with numbers 11, 13, 4 and 2. That's the order in which I fancy them. If Red Palace doesn't bring her A game, and given that Gold Poker Game has got to contend with the 13 draw, this race could be ripe for a massive result, because on their day there are some fillies here that can rise to the occasion. My Flower Fate is attracting long shot support. Time for Love, Summer Lily, Sidley. These are all really good fillies. And if Red Palace is not at her best, then we could be in for a bit of a surprise result. But I'm going to trust the form book. The form book suggests that Red Palace will win it. that Gold Poker Game will run second, and that Princess Izzy and Rainbow Lorikeet will be there and thereabouts. So I'm going to trust the form book, but let's hope that Red Palace brings her A game.
Red Palace, horse number 11, yet to win at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth. She's had 7 starts for 1 second. Perhaps she could just be a Hollywoodbets Durbanville specialist, but she is the one that they are likely to have to chase home in race 7. Race number 8, this is a KP stakes over 1,800 meters. 4:30 is the off time. LA Maurice is at 18 to 10. Katsu number 2 is at 3 to 1. 9 to 2 about number 8 to a penny. 5 to 1 about number 3 for Lupaki, and then it's 7 to 1 and better bar those. Now last time out, LA Maurice was frustrating and costly to follow when beaten at those short odds behind Love is a Rose, who looked to be a lively contender and the one that could beat LA Maurice, and they are bringing him back in trip to 1,800 meters where he won in his penultimate start. He carried level weights with Katsu that day. On Sunday, he's got to give him 3 kgs, and strictly on that, Katsu can turn the form around with Ale Maurice, given the manner in which he was finishing off his race that day. And he's got a much kinder draw as well. Gate 2, Ground for Nika Kabot. So he does look to be a lively contender and the one that could challenge Ale Maurice.
Absolutely, the 3 kilograms is a big swing. I think Ale Maurice is a typical dynasty. 4-year-old dynasty, rising 5, finding his feet, late maturing dynasty. He's in really good form, but the weights bring Katsu and Ale Marie very much closer together. So you can't leave Katsu out of the play. So Ale Maurice might be the top selection, might be the early favorite, but Katsu is very much alive. I would include only one other. I think one has got to have a bit of respect for number 6, Give Me More Time. Yes, he was beaten by Ale Maurice, 3.5 lengths, but there's going to be a little bit of give in the ground. As I mentioned a moment ago, they're having a little bit of rain at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth, not enough to significantly change the state of the going, but there are some horses that are going to react positively to the fact that there's a little bit of cut in the ground. So I think 2, 5 and 6 have got to go into the play. 5, Ale Maurice is clearly the top choice ahead of Katsu and Give Me More Time. But Katsu, as you say, waited to turn the tables. 2 others worth a mention, although I think they're going to struggle to match strides with the 3 we've mentioned. I think Lupaki has clearly improved in blinkers, but just how strong that green Mandarin form is going to turn out to be, that's got to be suspect. You can't fault the filly to a penny. She's won her last 3. She just doesn't know how to lie down. She's very gutsy. She's got 53 on her back. Would you be totally shocked to see her make it 4 on the bounce? She's quite well treated by the conditions of the KP Stakes. The conditions favour fillies. That includes obviously number 1 Double Check, but of the 2 fillies, I do prefer the chances of number 8 to a penny. So can she turn these geldings over? Katsu, Ale Maurice, and Give Me More Time. It's going to be a tougher task for her, but she's got a nice low weight, and you want to also maybe throw her into the mix. So 5, 2, 6, 8 and 3. That's my top 5 in the order of preference, but not much to choose between Ale Maurice and Katsu.
Race number 8, certainly going to be a very, very interesting contest. Race number 9, the final race on the day. Class 3, 1,200 meters the distance. Number 5, Give Me Lightning, 3 to 1. Number 12, Dumbledore, 4 to 1. Number 3, All About Al at 6 to 1. Along with number 7, Silver Crown. Sundays is at 8 to 1, and then it's 10 to 1. And better bar those. Now, last time out when Paratrooper ran, I thought he would be some good value in the race at around 16 to 1. I thought he'd get closer to the action, but maybe your second run after rest syndrome. Blinkers go on, and he's dropped 2 more points in the rating. So it's 54.5. I'm willing to give him another chance at around 10 to 1 in the market. I think that he could run a nice race for Ashton Aries and Vaughan Marshall.
Definitely a player. You know, it's interesting how they price up. So if you go back to the obvious form line, which was on the 6th of April, Class 3, 1,200 meters down the straight. These races, as you know, they chop and change. The results vary. They meet each other from different draws. One day they go into the inside, one day they go to the outside. You need a bit of luck. But Silver Crown emerged second behind Mercapitano. Gimme Lightning third, Dumbledore fourth, All About L sixth, Paratrooper 7th. So Silver Crown actually beat them all, albeit narrowly. Yet he's 8 to 1 in the early betting exchanges. Gimme Lightning is favourite at 3 to 1. Dumbledore is 4 to 1. So you wonder how sometimes they price up. Paratrooper, as you mentioned, a big price. So I think the value lies here, maybe with Paratrooper to improve with the blinkers, but the value certainly in the anti-post market lies with number 7, Silver Crown. He beat them last time, why can't he beat them again? But it doesn't work out quite that way in these 1200 meter class 3 or class 4 or class 5 handicaps. This one's a class 3. So there are many with chances. It is the toughest race, again, by a country mile on the card. Paratrooper, you've mentioned, even Dean Street. The fact that he's run below par in his last 2 starts, well, maybe we can forgive him that. Again, I mentioned that there's going to be a slight cut in the ground, a little bit kinder. All About L, also slightly below best in his last 2, but can bounce back. Fort Red, you could never ignore. Give Me Lightning, the form speaks volumes, although he was beaten by Silver Crown last time out. Sundazed was in the mix with him behind Mercapitano on the 9th of March. He can surprise. This, I can go on and on and on. This is the toughest race in the card. Even Lindbergh steps back in trip, and it's interesting, there's a late declaration, the tongue tie goes on Lindbergh, and that brings into question as to whether perhaps his last 2